Good morning, fellow Ambazonians. This is Dr. Cho Ayaba. Let me once more congratulate Major General Capo for his appointment and the men and women under his command. We wish them well, and we will do everything humanly possible to provide what they need to defend our homeland, consolidate our gains, stabilize Bui so that our community schools can be entrenched and expanded. It is very critical that they adhere to their code of conduct and work together with our population to speed up, the liberation of our country. I also want to inform Ambazonians that from the 8th of August, there might be a lockdown in Biafra land. I was informed yesterday by the leadership that they may be instituting a lockdown in Biafra every Monday until Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is released from jail. This may affect Ambazonians trading with Biafra, and so you have to factor this new reality into your program. We continue to encourage trade with Biafra and discourage trade with Cameroon. This is a 70 million strong economic bloc that provides an average of 75% of the GDP of the occupying countries. And we will continue to discuss with the Biafran leadership also to encourage Biafrans to buy more Ambazonian products, since Biafra land is not as rich in food production as Ambazonia. This could be mutually beneficial for both peoples. It has also come to my attention that members of the Townhall and the CDN were engaged in the last weeks in disparaging attack on my press secretary, Asu Lucas, and the Deputy Defense Chief, Capo Daniel. I ask these people to desist from this public ranting. You cannot gain legitimacy through the destruction of others. In the past 4 years, the attempt at sabotage, blackmail for the purpose of legitimacy has not worked. It has had negative impact on our liberation struggle and on individuals. All the architects of blackmail and sabotage are nowhere to be found. We must note that Ambazonia is going to remain a plural society with divergent views, courses of action, and we must learn to respect the position of others. I was made to understand that in the attempt to mobilize funds for the AMF, they thought it was appropriate to criminalize the ADF and my spokesperson. Now, let me tell them this. For the past 4 years, they have attempted with DOD, they've experimented with ASC, they have tried desperately to benefit from the attack of the ADF, exploit discord in Bui, with the hope that the ADF leadership would decamp to them. It has not worked. And they are now in another desperate attempt to hijack the AMF, to use it for purposes of legitimacy and purposes of negotiation. Nobody will speak for Ambazonia. Nobody. We will speak as a people. The defense forces, the political leadership, our public speakers, the bloggers, and other stakeholders, to be led in the process of negotiation by experts. The desperate attempt to bring leaders in Washington to showcase to the Swiss that we are together so that they can use it for negotiation did not work. Excuse me. Another desperate attempt to negotiate in Yaoundé and using background channels for purposes of collaboration did not also work. No one will use our people to either stop ghost towns, call for ceasefire, or to engage in premature negotiations that is not going to be for the interests of Ambazonia. We have given an appropriate formula for negotiations. we have also given an appropriate formula on how we can fight together on the ground by allowing the forces to collaborate rather than demonizing the Ambazonian Defense Forces and propping other forces to attack the ADF. This is not sensible leadership. This is not what statesmen do. This is what desperados do. We aren't fools. All these splinters of the IG, whether CDN, town halls, who think we don't understand what their agenda is to use others to prop others. We want to let them know the Ambazonian Governing Council will remain firm on what it will take to negotiate. As we have repeatedly written and spoken, we are ready as a people to engage and get a surrender letter from the regime. We are also building the strength of our forces to consolidate our gains, stabilize the territory for the protection of our civilian population, and to engage in more offensive actions against the last remnants of Cameroon's military. We must be humbled in leadership, and we must be clear with our intentions. Hidden motivations to use others in the name of collaboration will not work. It has not worked before. I want to assure Ambazonians that for 30 years, the attempt by populists to destroy nationalist movement in order to speedily take the liberation struggle to our unknown destination has been resisted. And history has shown from the Ekontang Elat, the Ndoki Muketes, the Munzos, and all those who purportedly claim to have stood for Ambazonia, their position today is known. Time is critical in testing the resolve of a people for freedom. And as time has shown, just in barely 4 years, the cream of men and women who have decamped should open our eyes. There are no shortcuts to liberation. You cannot destroy others to gain legitimacy. Blackmail is not a strategy. It's a short-term strategy for power. It is not a long-term strategy for political liberation. To gain credibility, you must work hard. Go down, recruit, train, equip, and call a force your own. Don't bribe, hijack, and sit on social media and make a lot of noise. You are not in charge. Our forces must remain committed to the liberation of our homeland. At the appropriate time, we will constitute as a people a transitional authority that will build a formidable constitution, that will set the economic philosophy, will build a prototype system that will be transplanted in an independent Ambazonia. And we, the people, will be given the opportunity to elect those who will be in charge of our government. All this assumption of titles of president of a state is what has caused the chaos in our struggle. And this must come to an end. Set up your movement, protect it, work and build it. You are not going to do that by trying to discredit and attack others. The ADF is indestructible. The AGOVC remains poised, strong, not only in the caliber of men and women, but in its procedure that is transparent and accountable. The one reason for which we want to leave this terrorist regime is because its practices, its tradition, its customs, its norms are antithetical to the very foundation of the Ambazonian state. And we are not going to replicate those bad habits during the liberation process. Ambazonia remain focused, fight your fight with humility, with respect for one another, and we will be free as a people. God bless you all.